Close your eyes. Take a slow, gentle breath. Tonight, we leave the modern world behind. Together, we quietly travel over 4,000 years into the past, toward a land shaped by a single, gentle river, ancient Egypt. Allow your thoughts to become lighter, your breathing slower, and let history gently guide you toward peaceful sleep. Far away, beyond the edge of memory, the sky over the desert begins to change color, deep violet fading into soft amber, then into a warm, gentle gold. This is the hour before sunrise, the quietest hour Egypt has ever known, when the whole world seems to hold its breath. Just before the light returns, imagine standing on a low, sandy rise, looking out across the land. Ahead of you, the Nile moves slowly through the darkness, silver and still, reflecting the last pale stars. This river has flowed here for longer than memory can hold, patient, unhurried, giving life to everything that rests along its banks. Slowly, the first light touches the horizon, and there, in the distance, great shapes begin to appear, pale and enormous, rising quietly from the sand. The pyramids, ancient even in ancient times, standing exactly as they have stood, for thousands upon thousands of mornings, just like this one. Take a slow breath and let your eyes rest gently on their shape, perfect triangles of pale limestone, once smooth and gleaming white, catching the very first light of day, their peaks touched with soft gold, while their bases still rest in cool blue shadow. These great monuments were built with extraordinary patience, block by block, stone by stone, carried, lifted, and placed with quiet, careful skill, by thousands of workers, skilled builders, not slaves as old stories once claimed, men who ate bread and onions and dried fish, who lived in nearby villages, who took pride, generation after generation, in raising something that would outlast them all. Around the great pyramids, the desert stretches out in soft rolling waves, pale gold sand, cool now in the last moments before sunrise, small ripples across its surface, shaped gently by yesterday's wind. Nothing moves here, except perhaps a very faint breeze, sliding softly across the dunes. Now let your gaze drift toward the river once more, along its green banks, where the desert gives way to soft, fertile land. Tall papyrus reeds sway gently at the water's edge. Date palms lean lazily over the current, their long leaves rustling faintly in the cool morning air. This narrow strip of green, following the river for hundreds of miles, was everything to the people who lived here. The Nile did not simply pass through Egypt. It was Egypt, its yearly floods leaving behind rich, dark soil the Egyptians themselves called Kemet, the Black Land, life-giving, endlessly patient, just like the river itself. Somewhere along the bank, a heron stands perfectly still in the shallow water, watching, waiting, its pale feathers catching the first hint of morning light. Then, quietly, it lifts one slow leg and steps forward, unhurried, as if it too understands that nothing here needs to rush. Listen closely. Can you hear it? The soft lapping of water against the riverbank, the faint rustle of reeds, a single bird calling somewhere in the distance, its voice round and gentle, fading softly into the pale morning air. Above you, the sky continues to soften, violet fading further into gold, gold beginning to touch the tips of distant hills. the pyramids now glowing warmly, pale amber against a pastel sky, as if the stone itself remembers every sunrise it has ever witnessed. Take another slow breath and notice the scent carried on the morning air: cool river water, damp reeds, the faint, dry warmth of sand, and somewhere, very faintly, wood smoke, rising gently from a village, just beginning to wake, along the riverbank. We will walk that way soon, toward the village, toward the sound of daily life beginning, but not yet. For now, let us begin to walk, slowly, down toward the riverbank, your feet moving gently over cool, sandy earth. There is no need to hurry. The village will still be here, waiting patiently, as it always has. The path narrows slightly as you descend. Palm trees lean gently overhead, their long leaves rustling softly, casting thin, moving shadows across the sandy ground. Ahead, simple mud brick houses come into view, their walls pale and sun-baked, flat roofs catching the early morning light. Notice how these homes were built with quiet wisdom: thick mud brick walls, keeping the inside cool, even beneath the fierce midday sun. Small, high windows, letting in soft light, but little heat. Simple, practical, shaped by generations of patient knowledge. Beneath your feet, the ground is packed earth and sand, warmed gently by the rising sun. A few chickens move quietly between the houses, pecking softly at the ground, unhurried, content. Ahead of you, the path opens into a small village square, and here, life is beginning to stir. Doors made of simple woven reeds, pushed open softly, one by one, like slow, sleepy eyes, opening gently into morning. Take a slow breath and notice the scent drifting toward you. Warm bread, baking in a round clay oven. Nearby, a woman kneels beside it, shaping soft dough with practiced hands, placing it gently against the warm clay walls, to bake in the rising heat. The bread of ancient Egypt was simple, made mostly from emmer wheat, ground slowly between two flat stones, the flour often coarse, sometimes flecked with tiny bits of grit, yet still warm and nourishing, shared gently among family and neighbors. Further along, a man leads 2 oxen slowly toward the fields, their pace unhurried, matching the soft rhythm of the morning. He hums quietly to himself, a simple, wordless tune, carried gently on the cool morning air. Nearby, a small fishing boat rests at the water's edge, made from bundled papyrus reeds, light and simple. A fisherman checks his woven net, his movements calm, practiced. He will set out onto the river soon, as his father did, and his father before him. Children move through the village, laughing softly, chasing one another between the mud brick homes, their bare feet light against the warm ground. One child pauses, watching the fisherman with quiet curiosity, eyes wide, simply enjoying this soft, unhurried morning. Notice the simple beauty around you. Palm leaves swaying gently overhead, sunlight falling in soft patterns across sandy paths, the distant murmur of the river, never far away, always present, like a slow, steady heartbeat. Beneath the whole village, a woman walks toward the riverbank, carrying a tall clay jar balanced gently on her shoulder. Her steps smooth, practiced, unhurried. She kneels at the water's edge, filling the jar slowly, watching the current drift softly past. Above the village, a few white egrets glide low over the water, their wings barely making a sound, circling once, then settling gently among the reeds. Let your breathing slow again, in, softly, and out, gently. Imagine the quiet rhythm of this village, settling around you, like warm morning light. Notice the soft colors around you, pale mud brick walls, warmed to a gentle honey color by the sun, deep green palm leaves, swaying softly overhead, the pale blue sky, stretching endlessly above, and the river, always the river, moving slowly, patiently. Beside it all, somewhere nearby, a soft flute melody drifts through the morning air, simple, unhurried, played by someone resting in the shade, its notes rising and falling gently, like the river itself. Ahead, the path continues toward a small home with an open doorway. Perhaps this is where we will rest a while and watch an Egyptian family begin their day. But for now, simply walk a little further, slowly, quietly. Let the sounds of the village settle around you, like a soft, warm blanket, and know that sleep is drawing gently nearer. With every step, the doorway ahead stands open, soft light spilling gently through woven reed curtains. Perhaps we may step inside, quietly, just for a while. Imagine crossing the threshold into a cool, shaded room, the bright morning sun softening into gentle, filtered light, the mud brick walls holding on to the night's coolness, a quiet relief from the warming day outside. The floor beneath your feet is packed earth, swept smooth and clean. Simple woven mats rest here and there, their patterns faded gently by years of quiet use. In the center of the home, a small courtyard opens to the sky, just as it did in distant Rome, though shaped by a different people, a different river, a different sun. Here too, a family gathers gently, beneath the open air. A father sits on a low stool, carving something small and careful from a piece of soft wood, perhaps a toy, perhaps a simple tool. His hands move slowly, patiently, unhurried, as if the work itself is a kind of quiet rest. Nearby, a mother grinds grain between two flat stones, a slow, steady rhythm, back and forth, back and forth. The soft, grinding sound almost musical, like a gentle, repeating lullaby. Two children sit close by. One holds a small piece of broken pottery, practicing symbols upon it with a reed brush. Simple pictures, a bird, a wave of water, a small sun, the early shapes of a written language that would one day be called hieroglyphs. The other child watches quietly, occasionally pointing gently, offering a soft suggestion, their voices low, unhurried, morning voices, still soft with sleep. Notice the simple furniture around the room, a low wooden table, a few woven baskets resting against the wall, holding dates, onions, dried fish. Nothing extravagant, just the quiet order of daily life. On a small shelf, a carved wooden figure rests quietly, a household god, watching gently over the family, as it has for many years, its edges worn smooth by careful, familiar hands. The mother pauses her grinding for a moment, brushing a little flour from her hands. She glances toward her children, a soft, patient smile crossing her face. She says nothing. There is no need for words. Just this, a quiet morning, shared together. Soon, she rises to prepare a simple morning meal, Flatbread, warmed gently over hot coals, a little honey, perhaps a few dates. Simple food, shared slowly. Around the small table, take a slow breath and imagine the scent of this home. Warm bread, dry palm wood, the faint, earthy smell of the mud brick walls themselves. Comforting, familiar. After the meal, the father rises, setting his small carving gently aside. He will walk toward the field soon, or perhaps toward the riverbank, to tend his small boat. But for now, he lingers a moment longer, in the quiet warmth of his own home. The children return to their practice, small reed brushes moving slowly across broken pottery, shaping symbols, patiently, carefully, learning, quietly, the old and patient art of making thought visible. Let your own breathing settle into this same quiet rhythm, in, slowly, and out, gently. Imagine the soft murmur of this family's voices, fading slowly into a gentle hum, like a lullaby without words. Slowly, quietly, let this small, peaceful home settle into memory. The open courtyard, the soft, grinding stones, the warm scent of bread, the gentle voices of a family, beginning their day, together, as families have always done, beside this ancient, patient river. Soon, we will step back out into the morning, toward the market, where the village gathers to trade and speak and share the day together. But for now, simply rest here a moment longer in this small sunlit courtyard, breathing slowly, softly, at peace. Slowly, we step back out into the morning light, the sun a little higher now, warming the sandy paths beneath your feet. Ahead, the soft hum of voices grows gently louder, rising and falling like a slow, familiar tide. The market is waking fully now. The path opens into a wide, sunlit gathering place. Simple woven mats spread across the ground, goods arranged gently upon them. No tall buildings here, just open sky, palm shade, and the quiet business of trade. Imagine walking slowly between the sellers. No need to rush, no need to choose anything at all, just to look, to listen, to breathe it all in. Here, a woman kneels beside baskets of fresh produce, onions, leeks, cucumbers, bundles of dark green herbs. She calls out gently to passing neighbors, her voice warm, familiar, unhurried. Further along, a fisherman displays his morning catch, fresh Nile perch and tilapia, laid carefully across cool, damp reeds, their scales catching the soft morning light, brought in just an hour before, still smelling faintly of river water. Nearby, tall clay jars rest in a careful row, filled with beer, Egypt's everyday drink, brewed gently from barley, thick and nourishing, shared freely, among workers and families alike. You pass a small stall of woven baskets, made from palm leaves and reeds, shaped by patient, careful hands, some large enough to carry grain, others small enough to hold a single loaf of bread, each one useful, each one simply beautiful. Beside the baskets, a potter displays rows of simple clay vessels, water jars, oil lamps, small bowls, shaped on a slow-turning wheel, fired gently in a warm clay kiln, until the earth itself became something lasting. A little further, a jeweler's small mat gleams softly in the sun, simple faience beads, glazed a soft turquoise blue, small amulets shaped like scarabs, believed to carry quiet protection. Nothing extravagant, just small, gentle beauty, made for ordinary people, to wear on ordinary days. Nearby, a trader unrolls a small bundle of linen cloth, pale and soft, woven from flax grown along the riverbanks, its texture light, cool, perfect for the warm Egyptian days. Listen now to the sounds around you, sellers calling gently, neighbors greeting one another, soft laughter drifting through the warm air, the occasional bleat of a goat, led slowly through the gathering crowd, the soft clink of copper rings, exchanged quietly, as a simple form of trade. Children weave between the stalls, chasing a small dog beneath a woven mat, their laughter light, quickly fading into the gentle hum of the market. An old man sits in the shade of a palm tree, watching it all unfold, a small, contented smile resting on his face. Notice the smells drifting through the market. Fresh bread, sun-warmed dates, the faint scent of river fish, and, drifting gently from a small stall nearby, sweet resin incense, frankincense and myrrh, carried by traders from distant lands, resting now in small woven baskets. Beneath the morning sun, take a slow breath and let all of it settle around you, gently, like a warm blanket of sound and scent. This market has gathered here for generations, voices changing, faces changing, but the rhythm always the same, buying, selling, speaking, laughing, the quiet heartbeat of a patient river valley. As the morning stretches on, the gathering begins to soften, slowly, thinning, sellers resting for a moment in the shade, sharing a cup of water, a moment of stillness. Within the gentle bustle, let your own breathing slow here too. In, softly, and out, gently. Imagine the warmth of the sun resting on your shoulders as you walk slowly away from the market, towards somewhere quieter now, toward the river itself, where boats drift gently beneath a soft, wide sky. But for now, simply walk on, slowly, quietly. Let the market fade gently behind you, its voices softening into memory, into peace. We turn away from the market, walking gently toward the water's edge, the sound of trade fading softly behind us, replaced, little by little, by the quiet murmur of the river, always patient, always near. Imagine standing now at the edge of the Nile, its surface wide and calm, reflecting the pale morning sky. The water moves slowly, unhurried, as it has moved for longer than any memory can hold. Along the bank, tall papyrus reeds sway gently, their soft green stalks rising from the shallow water, swaying in a slow, quiet rhythm with the passing breeze. Nestled among them, pale lotus flowers rest upon the surface, their petals soft blue and white, opening gently, with the morning light closing slowly. As the day grows warm, a quiet, patient rhythm, older than any calendar. A small reed boat drifts nearby, light and simple, bundled papyrus stalks bound carefully together. A fisherman stands within it, his movements calm, balanced. He lowers a woven net gently into the water, then waits, unhurried, patient. Further along the bank, a larger wooden boat glides slowly past, its single sail catching a gentle breeze, carrying goods, perhaps, grain, pottery, bundles of linen, moving unhurried along the great watery road that connects the whole of Egypt, village to village, temple to temple. Notice how the Nile shapes everything around it. Fields of barley and flax stretch along its banks, green and soft, nourished by the river's yearly flood, a gift that arrives each year, faithfully, patiently, just as it always has. The Egyptians called this far bank, where the sun set each evening, the land of the dead, and this near bank, where the sun rose each morning, the land of the living, the river, quietly dividing life from rest. Both sides, always in gentle balance. Take a slow breath and notice the scent of the river, cool water, damp reeds, the faint sweetness of lotus blossoms, drifting gently on the morning breeze. Somewhere nearby, a group of ducks glide softly across the water, leaving small, gentle ripples behind them, their quiet calls carrying briefly across the still morning air, then fading again into silence. A young boy sits at the water's edge, his feet resting gently in the cool shallows, watching the current drift slowly past, content, unhurried, simply enjoying this quiet morning by the river. Above you, a heron lifts slowly from the reeds, its wide wings moving with slow, graceful patience, gliding low across the water before settling gently further along the bank. Let your own breathing slow here, in softly and out gently. Imagine the sound of the river moving quietly beside you, endless, patient, unhurried. The sun climbs a little higher now, warming the water's surface, turning it a soft, glimmering gold, the whole river seeming to glow gently. From within, notice how peaceful this place feels. Not because nothing happens here, but because everything happens slowly, gently, at the river's own patient pace. Somewhere in the distance, temple rooftops rise gently above the palm trees, their pale stone catching the morning light. We will walk that way soon, to rest among quiet columns and drifting incense. But for now, simply sit here a little longer, beside the water, listening to its slow, endless voice. At peace, we rise from the riverbank, walking gently along a wide, sandy path. Toward the temple rooftops we glimpsed in the distance, the sun now resting higher in the pale sky, warm, unhurried. Imagine the path widening slowly, bordered now by tall stone pillars, an avenue leading gently toward a great gateway, its surface carved with soft, careful images, birds, reeds, figures walking gently in procession, worn smooth by centuries of wind and sun. Ahead, the temple entrance rises before you, two massive stone pylons, wide and sloped, like great, gentle wings, standing guard over the sacred space beyond, their pale surface glowing softly. In the late morning light, you pass through the entrance slowly into a wide open courtyard, surrounded by tall stone columns, each one carved to resemble bundled papyrus stalks or gently blooming lotus flowers, as if the builders wished to bring the river itself into stone. The air here feels different, cooler, quieter, carrying a soft, sweet scent of incense, drifting gently from somewhere deep within the temple. Sunlight falls in long, warm beams between the columns, resting softly upon the smooth stone floor. Dust drifts slowly within the light, unhurried, like slow golden snow. A priest moves quietly near a small altar, his linen robes pale and simple, his movements calm, practiced. He lights a small offering, watching thin smoke curl upward toward the open sky above. Along the walls, carved reliefs stretch gently from floor to ceiling, painted once in soft blues, golds, and deep reds, now gently faded by time. Scenes of gods and gentle rivers, of harvests and quiet processions, stories carved patiently, meant to last far longer than any single life. Notice the great columns rising around you, wide as ancient trees, their capitals carved into soft, blooming lotus shapes, as if the whole temple was grown gently from the riverbank itself. A few quiet visitors move slowly through the courtyard, speaking in low, respectful voices, pausing occasionally to rest their hands gently against a cool stone column, or to watch the incense smoke drift slowly toward the sky. Beyond the courtyard, a smaller, dimmer chamber waits quietly, its entrance narrow, its air cool and still. This is a sacred space, reserved for quiet reflection. We need not enter fully. Simply pause here a moment. At its gentle threshold, take a slow breath and notice how peaceful this place feels. Not because it is grand, but because it is calm. A place built not for hurry, but for reflection, for quiet gratitude, for simply pausing and being still. Outside the temple walls, a small garden rests in dappled shade, sycamore trees offering gentle cover, their broad leaves rustling softly in the warm midday breeze. A few birds move quietly among the branches, their songs soft, simple. Notice the light beginning to shift, the sun climbing toward its highest point, shadows shortening gently beneath the tall stone columns, the whole temple glowing warmly in the fullness of midday light. Let your own breathing slow here, in softly and out gently. Imagine the quiet stillness of this temple courtyard settling over you like a soft, warm blanket. Soon, we will walk once more beyond the temple walls, toward a quiet room filled with reed pens and soft papyrus scrolls, where scribes sit patiently, recording the gentle rhythms of daily life. But for now, simply rest here a little longer, among columns and soft drifting incense, at peace. Slowly, we leave the quiet temple courtyard behind, walking gently along a shaded path toward a small building near the temple grounds, its walls pale and cool, its doorway open softly to the midday light. Imagine stepping inside, into a quiet room, sunlight falling gently through a narrow window, resting in a warm patch upon the smooth stone floor. This is where the scribes work, keepers of memory, patient recorders of daily life. Along the walls, wooden shelves hold neat rows of papyrus scrolls, each one rolled carefully, tied gently with soft linen thread, filled with careful, patient writing, records of harvests, prayers, simple stories, gentle instructions for daily living. Near the center of the room, a scribe sits cross-legged upon a woven mat, a sheet of papyrus resting gently across his lap. In one hand, a slender reed pen, its tip cut to a fine point. In the other, a small palette of ground pigment, soft black and warm reddish-brown. He dips the reed gently into the ink and begins to write, slowly, carefully, each symbol shaped with quiet patience. A bird, a wave of water, a small seated figure, the soft, patient language of an ancient and thoughtful people. Nearby, a young apprentice practices on a broken piece of pottery, copying symbols again and again, his tongue resting slightly between his lips. In careful concentration, a small, proud smile appearing softly as each symbol takes its shape. Notice the scent of this quiet room: dry papyrus, faint mineral ink, the soft, earthy smell of sun-warmed stone, a quiet, patient scent, like old paper, like careful thought, settled softly into the still air. The scribe pauses for a moment, setting down his reed pen gently. He looks out through the narrow window, toward the soft green fields beyond. Then slowly, he returns to his work, unhurried, patient. Take a slow breath and let the quiet of this room settle around you. There is no rush here, no noise, only the soft scratch of reed against papyrus, the gentle rustle of an unrolled scroll, the quiet murmur of careful thought. Imagine sitting for a while on a woven mat nearby, resting your hands gently upon the cool stone floor. Perhaps you glance at a scroll resting close beside you, its surface soft with age, its symbols painted in careful, patient rows. You do not need to understand every symbol. Simply let your eyes rest gently upon the page. Let your thoughts slow. Let your breathing settle into the quiet rhythm of this ancient room. Outside, the midday sun continues its slow arc across the sky. But here, time seems to move differently, softer, slower, as if the room itself has learned patience from the scrolls it holds. The apprentice sets down his broken pottery for a moment, rubbing his tired eyes gently. The scribe glances toward him, a small, encouraging nod. Then both return quietly to their patient work. Slowly, let your own eyes grow heavy. Just as the room around you grows quiet, the scrolls resting patiently on their shelves, the soft light drifting gently across the floor, the whole room settling gently into stillness. When you are ready, we will step outside once more, toward the soft, golden edge of the desert, where palm groves rest beneath a warm afternoon sky. The Egyptian countryside is waiting. But for now, simply rest here a little longer, among quiet scrolls and soft afternoon light. Slowly, we leave the quiet scribe's room behind, stepping once more into the warm afternoon light, the sun now resting gently past its highest point, softening slowly toward the long, golden hours of late day. Imagine walking along a path that leads gently away from the village, toward where the green fields fade slowly into pale gold sand, the border between two worlds, the living land and the quiet desert beyond. Around you, palm groves stretch gently along the path, tall date palms, their trunks rough and patient, their leaves swaying softly overhead, casting long, cool patterns of shade across the warm ground below. Clusters of dates hang heavy from the highest branches, deep amber and gold, ripening slowly. In the steady warmth of the afternoon sun, a gentle breeze moves through the fronds, rustling softly, like a slow whispered lullaby. A farmer moves quietly between the trees, checking the low canals that carry river water, gently, patiently, toward his fields of barley and flax, his movements calm, unhurried, shaped by generations of careful knowledge. Nearby, a small herd of goats rests in the shade of a sycamore tree, their soft bleats fading gently into the warm afternoon air. A young herder sits nearby, watching them with quiet patience, humming softly to himself. Further along, the green fields begin to thin, giving way slowly to pale, rolling dunes, the desert stretching out beyond them, vast, quiet, endlessly patient. Take a slow breath and notice how the air changes here, warmer, drier, carrying the faint scent of sun-warmed sand, and somewhere, still, the soft, lingering sweetness of date palms. Imagine standing at the very edge of the fields, one foot in soft green grass, the other resting gently on pale desert sand. This is the quiet border the Egyptians knew so well, between the black land and the red land, between life and stillness, both, in their own way, deeply peaceful. In the distance, heat shimmers softly above the dunes, turning the horizon into a gentle, wavering blur. Nothing moves out there, except perhaps a very faint breeze, sliding quietly across the sand. A caravan of donkeys rests near a small well, their loads gentle bundles of goods, travelling slowly between distant villages. Their handler pours a little water into a worn stone trough, speaking softly to each patient animal. Nearby, a single acacia tree grows from the dry ground, its branches thin and thorny, yet still offering a small circle of shade, a resting place for anyone who passes this quiet way. Notice the colours around you now. Deep green palm leaves, pale golden sand, the soft blue sky stretching endlessly above, and far in the distance, the faint outline of distant hills, shimmering gently in the afternoon heat. Let your own breathing slow here. In, gently, and out, slowly. Imagine resting for a moment in the cool shade of a palm grove, listening to the soft rustle of leaves overhead and the faint, distant hush of the desert beyond. The sun continues its slow, patient journey westward, its light softening gradually, from bright gold into a warmer, gentler amber, the whole landscape glowing softly in the long afternoon light. Somewhere behind you, the village continues its quiet rhythm, distant voices, the soft bray of a donkey, the faint splash of water lifted gently from a well. Soon, the sun will begin its final descent, and we will walk together, back toward the riverbank, to watch as evening settles gently over the land of the Nile. But for now, simply rest here a little longer, among palm groves and quiet golden sand, at peace. We turn back toward the river, walking gently along the familiar path, the last light of day softening behind the distant dunes, the sky deepening now, from warm amber into gentle rose, then slowly into soft indigo. Ahead, the village comes back into view, its mud brick walls glowing faintly. In the day's final light, small fires begin to flicker gently near open doorways, warm and low. We walk once more along the riverbank, its water now a deep, quiet blue, reflecting the fading colours of the sky, the current moving softly, unhurried, as it always does, at the close of every day. Imagine the palm trees around you, turning to soft silhouettes, their leaves swaying gently. Against the darkening sky, a cool breeze drifts across the water, carrying the faint scent of river reeds and distant cooking fires. The village settles slowly into evening, wooden doors closing softly, voices growing quieter, children already resting, wrapped gently in soft linen blankets, their breathing slow, even peaceful. Small clay oil lamps begin to glow, placed gently in doorways and windows, their flames flickering softly, casting warm, moving shadows across pale mud brick walls. Somewhere nearby, a mother hums a soft, wordless lullaby, her voice low, gentle, drifting quietly through an open window into the cool evening air. Look up now. The sky has turned a deep, soft blue, scattered gently with stars. One by one, they appear, quiet and distant, watching over the sleeping village, just as they have, for thousands of years. The moon rises slowly above the great pyramids, pale and round, its soft silver light spilling gently across ancient stone, the ancient monuments glowing faintly, standing patient and still beneath the quiet night sky. Along the riverbank, a fisherman ties his small reed boat gently to a post, his work for the day finished. He pauses for a moment, watching the moonlight ripple softly across the dark water, before turning quietly toward home. Somewhere distant, a dog barks once, then falls silent again, the village settling further into its evening hush. The gentle wind moves softly across the water, carrying the faint scent of dying cook fires, of cool river reeds, of night-blooming lotus, closing gently beneath the stars. Take a slow breath and imagine this whole valley, slowly, gently, falling asleep around you, one home at a time, one quiet field at a time. The river continues its soft, endless journey, its voice the only sound now, in a land once filled with morning laughter, now resting, still, peaceful. Above the palm trees, the stars continue to gather, filling the sky slowly, like small quiet lanterns, watching gently over a valley at rest. Let your own breathing slow even further now, in softly, and out, gently. Imagine yourself standing quietly beside this ancient river, wrapped in cool night air and soft moonlight. Soon, we will find a quiet place to rest and let this ancient land carry us gently into sleep. But for now, simply stand here a little longer, beneath the stars, listening to the river and distant wind, and the soft, steady breath of a valley finally at peace. Let us drift a little further along the riverbank, not towards sleep just yet, but towards something rare, something the whole valley pauses to watch, a royal barge, gliding gently along the water. Imagine the river widening slightly here, its surface calm and glassy, catching the last soft colors of the sunset, rose, amber, deep, gentle gold. In the distance, a great wooden barge appears, its hull painted in soft blues and golds, a wide curved sail catching the evening breeze, rowers moving in slow, unhurried rhythm, their oars dipping gently into the calm water. This is how a pharaoh might travel, not with noise or hurry, but with quiet, dignified grace, moving along the river, the same patient river that carries every fisherman, every farmer, every family in the valley along the banks. A few villagers pause in their evening tasks, watching the barge glide softly past, not with excitement or shouting, but with a quiet, respectful stillness, as if watching the river itself carry something sacred. Small flags flutter gently along the barge's railing, painted with soft symbols, a sun, a feather, a gentle wave of water, each one telling a quiet story of protection and balance and peace. Notice the calm rhythm of the rowers, oars rising, then falling, rising, then falling, slow and steady, like a great, gentle heartbeat carried across the water. Musicians sit near the front of the barge, playing softly on simple reed flutes, their melody drifting gently across the river, calm, unhurried, barely louder than the water itself. Take a slow breath and imagine that sound reaching you now, faint, distant, carried on the cool evening breeze, a melody that has drifted across this river for thousands of years. The barge moves slowly onward, toward a distant temple, its outline soft against the darkening sky. We do not need to follow it. We simply watch, quietly, as it drifts gently into the evening. Slowly, the barge grows smaller in the distance, its lanterns beginning to glow softly, small points of warm light, reflected gently in the darkening water. The villagers return quietly to their evening tasks. The moment passed, gentle and unhurried, like everything else, along this ancient river. Let your own breathing slow here, in, softly, and out, gently. Imagine the last faint notes of the flute, fading softly into the evening air. The river settles once more into its calm, patient rhythm, carrying starlight now, instead of sunlight, its voice as soft and steady as it has always been. Soon, we will walk a little further, toward a quiet workshop, where painters and craftsmen rest after a long day's careful work. But for now, simply watch the water a little longer, calm, unhurried, at peace. Slowly, we turn away from the river, walking gently along a quiet path, toward a small workshop resting near the edge of the village, its doorway open softly, to the last warm light of day. Imagine stepping inside, into a cool, shaded room, the scent of fresh pigment and drying plaster, drifting gently through the air. This is where the artists rest, after a long day of careful, patient work. Along the walls, small clay pots hold soft-colored pigments, deep blue, ground from lapis lazuli, warm ochre, taken gently from the earth, bright green, made from crushed malachite, each color mixed slowly, with practiced, patient hands. A painter sits near the window, resting after a day spent within a quiet tomb chapel, painting soft images of gardens, of boats drifting on the river, of gentle gatherings among family, scenes meant to bring comfort and quiet joy for all the days to come. Nearby, a sculptor sits beside a small unfinished statue, carved from soft limestone, its surface still rough beneath his careful fingers. He works slowly, shaping gentle curves, with quiet, practiced patience. Notice his tools resting beside him, simple copper chisels, smooth stone polishers, worn softly by years of careful use. Nothing rushed, nothing forced, just slow, patient shaping of stone into memory. A young apprentice grinds pigment nearby, using a smooth, flat stone, back and forth, a slow, steady rhythm, almost like a quiet lullaby. Take a slow breath and notice the calm concentration in this room. No one hurries here. No one rushes their work. Each piece is shaped slowly, carefully, as if time itself moves gently for these patient hands. Nearby, a jeweler sits with a small tray of turquoise and carnelian beads, threading them slowly onto soft linen cord, each bead placed with quiet care, forming a simple, beautiful pattern, meant to be worn close to the heart. The evening light falls softly through the doorway, resting in warm patches across the workshop floor, turning the pale stone dust into something that glows gently, like fine, drifting gold. The painter pauses for a moment, setting down his brush. He looks quietly at his work, a small, simple garden, painted with soft, patient care, a quiet smile, crossing his tired face. Notice how these craftsmen work, not for hurried reward, but for lasting beauty. Each object shaped slowly, meant to outlast the hands that made it, meant to carry comfort, long after the maker has gone to rest. Let your own breathing slow here. In softly and out gently. Imagine the quiet rhythm of this workshop, settling around you like warm evening light. The apprentice finishes grinding his pigment, setting the stone gently aside. He stretches slowly, rubbing his tired hands. The day's work, quietly, peacefully, coming to its gentle end. Soon, we will walk a little further toward a quiet garden where sycamore trees rest beside a still, sacred pool. But for now, simply rest here a little longer among soft pigments and patient, careful hands, at peace, resting in warm patches across the workshop floor, turning the pale stone dust into something that glows gently, like fine, drifting gold. The painter pauses for a moment, setting down his brush. He looks quietly at his work, a small, simple garden, painted with soft, patient care, a quiet smile, crossing his tired face. Notice how these craftsmen work, not for hurried reward, but for lasting beauty. Each object shaped slowly, meant to outlast the hands that made it, meant to carry comfort, long after the maker has gone to rest. Let your own breathing slow here, in softly and out gently. Imagine the quiet rhythm of this workshop, settling around you like warm evening light. The apprentice finishes grinding his pigment, setting the stone gently aside. He stretches slowly, rubbing his tired hands. The day's work, quietly, peacefully, coming to its gentle end. Soon, we will walk a little further toward a quiet garden where sycamore trees rest beside a still, sacred pool. But for now, simply rest here a little longer among soft pigments and patient, careful hands, at peace. Part 12. A Sacred Garden. Slowly, we leave the quiet workshop behind, walking gently along a shaded path toward a walled garden resting near the temple grounds. Its entrance simple, its air cool and still. Imagine stepping through a narrow gateway into a peaceful, enclosed space. Tall sycamore trees rise gently around you, their broad leaves rustling softly in the last light of the evening breeze. At the center of the garden, a still, rectangular pool rests quietly, its surface like glass, reflecting the deepening evening sky, soft blue, fading gently into gold. Along its edges, papyrus reeds grow in neat, gentle rows, and a few pale lotus flowers rest upon the water, slowly closing now. As the day comes to its quiet end, this garden was planted with quiet purpose, not simply for beauty alone, but for reflection, a place where priests and sometimes ordinary visitors might sit quietly and feel the whole world grow calm around them. A soft breeze moves gently through the trees, carrying the faint scent of blossoms and cool, still water. Somewhere nearby, a small bird settles quietly among the sycamore branches. Take a slow breath and notice how still this place feels. Even the light seems to move slower here, drifting gently across the water, resting softly on pale stone. Imagine sitting for a moment at the pool's edge, your reflection soft and still, beside the reflection of the darkening sky. Nothing here asks anything of you, only that you rest, quietly, gently. A gardener moves slowly along the far edge, watering a row of small flowering plants. His movements calm, unhurried, as if even this simple task deserves quiet, patient care. Notice the sound of water trickling softly from a small stone channel into the pool below, a slow, steady rhythm, like a gentle, repeating breath. The sky above the garden walls continues to deepen, soft gold fading into gentle rose, then slowly into deep, quiet blue. Slowly, we leave the quiet garden behind, walking gently toward a soft sound drifting through the evening air, a harp, playing low and gentle notes. Somewhere near the heart of the village, imagine following the sound along a quiet path, lit softly now by a few flickering oil lamps, their warm light spilling gently onto smooth, sandy ground. Ahead, a small gathering rests beneath a wide, spreading tree, family and neighbors sitting together on soft, woven mats, their faces warmed gently by the glow of a small fire. A musician sits among them, a simple wooden harp resting against her shoulder, her fingers moving slowly across its strings, each note soft, unhurried, drifting gently into the cool evening air. Nearby, an older man begins to speak, his voice low and calm, telling a gentle story passed down through many generations of a clever farmer or a wise and patient river god. The details soft and unhurried, like the story itself. Has all the time in the world, children sit close by, listening quietly, their eyes heavy with the day's gentle tiredness. One small child leans softly against her mother's shoulder, already halfway towards sleep. Take a slow breath and imagine this scene settling around you. Warm firelight, soft harp music, the low, gentle rhythm of a familiar story, being told once more. Beneath a darkening sky, notice how unhurried everyone seems. No one rushes the story along. No one interrupts the music. Everyone simply rests here, together, sharing this quiet evening, as countless evenings have been shared. Before this one, the harpist's melody softens further, slower now, quieter, as if even the music itself is beginning to grow sleepy. Above the gathering, smoke drifts gently upward from the small fire, curling softly before disappearing into the darkening sky, where stars have now fully appeared, scattered gently like quiet, watching eyes. The storyteller's voice grows softer still, nearing the end of his tale, a gentle, peaceful ending, as all his stories tend to have. Let your own breathing slow here, in softly and out gently. Imagine the warmth of this small fire, the soft murmur of the story, the gentle harp notes, fading slowly into the quiet night. One by one, the listeners begin to rise, speaking softly, wishing one another gentle rest. The children already carried softly toward their beds, fast asleep, before they even reach the door. Soon, the fire will be allowed to fade quietly, and the village will settle fully into night. But for now, simply listen a little longer to the last few notes of the harp, drifting softly into silence. Slowly, we rise from the gentle gathering, walking once more along the quiet village path. the fire's warm glow fading softly behind us, the night now full and deep, wrapped gently around the sleeping valley. Imagine the path beneath your feet, pale in the moonlight, soft sand cool now against your steps, palm trees standing quietly on either side, their leaves barely stirring. In the still night air, above you, the sky stretches wide and endless, deep velvet blue, scattered generously with stars, more than you could ever hope to count, each one distant, patient, quiet. The Nile moves softly beside the path, its surface dark and smooth, catching faint threads of moonlight that ripple gently with the slow current. Somewhere ahead, the great pyramids rest silently against the horizon, pale silhouettes beneath the stars, standing exactly as they have stood for thousands of quiet nights, just like this one. Take a slow breath and notice how still everything has become. The village behind you, sleeping softly, the fields resting quietly under starlight, the whole valley wrapped gently in peaceful dark. A soft breeze moves across the water, carrying the faint, cool scent of the river, and somewhere, very faintly, the last lingering trace of wood smoke from a fire now fully rested. Your footsteps grow slower now, softer, as if your body already senses that sleep is drawing near. Notice the moonlight resting gently on the sand ahead, pale and silver, guiding your path, without needing to hurry you at all. Somewhere in the far distance, a single owl calls softly, its voice low and round, then fading again into the quiet night. The stars above continue their slow, patient watch, as they always have, over this ancient valley, over every traveler who has ever walked this same